The biggest mistake that traders make is focusing or zooming in on what's happening minute to minute. The best thing that traders can do is learn to zoom out and understand the larger, macro, bigger picture, what's really happening under the hood. And so today, that's why I want to talk about the crypto cycle and alt season specifically. We're going to go through my secrets, what I've learned over the 6 years here live on YouTube helping people, the 8 to 10-ish years of trading crypto, being in the space full time. I'm going to share all my secrets and everything I know to help make you more successful on this run that seems to be coming quicker and quicker and closer every day. So we're going to jump into it. Please smash the like button, subscribe, join us, give us a minute. We're going to get into this right here, right now. Hopefully we didn't just crash. YouTube saying no data. This happens, I don't know, like half of the time. Half of the time. Secrets. Well, we're just going to push through it even if it is not working. But anyway, so what is alt season? Alt season is typically a part of the crypto cycle, part of the 4-year cycle that we talk about that fits in pretty neatly into this 4-year rotation. It can be described very easily. I'll get into a way to identify it, a way to describe it. But it really is just the bull run that people think about. When people say the crypto bull run, what's in their head is alt season. It really isn't factually or mathematically what the bull run is. It's when all of the little things, all of the high risk, all of the low cap, all of the risk on leverage degenerate type stuff makes moves that would make a traditional stock market trader cry, basically. We can see the alt season very clearly through a chart called Total 3, just Total 3 on TradingView. This shows us the entire value of the crypto market, subtracting Bitcoin and Ethereum. I use this because it really simplifies what we're looking at here. There are other ways to do this, but I think this is the simplest. So we're just going to stick with this. Whenever Total 3 is increasing, you really can call that alt season. That really is alt season, though, again, it's not what people imagine in their brains. It's not the bull run as they're kind of feel like they're promised or owed or are guaranteed, right? So if we go back on Total 3's chart right now, and we look at the last time Total 3 really went up outside of the last few weeks, depending on when you're watching this, because this video's value likely to be evergreen. You could probably watch this at any point in a bullish crypto environment and get some value here. But most recently in November of 2024, we had about 5 weeks of Total 3 expanding. Total 3 barely broke its highest value, yet we saw so many coins and even bigger cap coins like XRP, Ripple. Yeah, I'm just going to go with that one. XRP really make huge gains and head back to their all-time highs. We didn't so much see that face melting kind of low cap altcoin degen move. This can be explained when we get into our next few charts, but really for the easiest part, zooming out, anytime Total 3 is green, we are in an alt season of some kind. Right now we're on 3 weeks of green and things are starting to feel a little different. Things are starting to maybe hint at that full-blown alt season, and there's a reason that this is a little bit different than, say, in November of 24 or even back in March of 24. And if you were in this space at those times, you'll probably realize that those were the times that you saw new people enter the market. Maybe your friends and family asked you about crypto. Should I buy Ripple? Should I buy Ethereum? Should I buy Solana? Those are almost always, I would say roughly 100% of new people join while Total 3 is expanding. It's an interesting concept, and it does play into what alt season really is. We can go into, let's do this. When is alt season? Alt season has pretty consistently throughout the cycles been at the end of the bull run. Now, don't get afraid. Don't freak out here. We're not talking about the last minutes. We're not talking about the bull run being over tomorrow. But we're talking about basically breaking down a crypto cycle into 4 years because it's simple to do. It's easy to understand. You don't need to have lots of technical jargon to understand this. Just think of it as 4 quarters, the same way a year has 4 quarters, each year being 1 quarter. The alt season tends to come at the last quarter of the bull run. So you can still have months to go by the time we really are in this, by the time it's full blown, full power, gas pedal to the ground. We can still have time. But once we're actually there, and this is the party pooper, the crappy part is, once we're actually there, it's virtually guaranteed that the party is going to end soon. So while things go up and almost everything goes up during an alt season, during this bull run, people do end up losing money. And more often they lose money than gain money, despite everything moving up. And I'm definitely going to go through my secrets to profit in this bull run. But let me finish this concept first. So typically it is at the end. And what we have seen in the past is Bitcoin leading the way. We saw that again in this cycle. Bitcoin climbed to new all-time highs last year in March of 24. Spent most of that year doing nothing. Broke its all-time highs again into 25. I guess pull that up. Into 25 and just kept going, right? So in this cycle and every other previous cycle, Bitcoin has led the way. We've seen that again here. Everything so far is on track. Bitcoin will move. It will break all-time highs, and it will spend these long periods of time then kind of doing nothing. From cycle to cycle, this does look different, but it always, or at least in my observation, has always been pretty similar. We can see that really well here in May, where Bitcoin moved to all-time high in mid-May, and it took another month and a half to really move any higher. During these times, or this is not during these times, this is the kind of ebb and flow that we see in this market. When it is bullish, we see Bitcoin lead the way. Once Bitcoin kind of takes a breath, takes a knee, sits down for a minute to recover its energy, moves sideways, gets a little choppy, that is when we typically see alts catch up. We've seen that here over the last few weeks. And I expect to see it even more into the end of this year and even potentially into very, very early 2026. So far, everything looks on paper really similar to every other cycle. And by the way, chat, feel free to comment if I miss anything. If you agree or disagree with any of these thoughts, if you have any alpha, definitely share it. But I'm going to try to get through all these thoughts first, and then I'm going to take some questions and stuff. You tend to see this seesawing, I like to call it, where Bitcoin moves up, and you can think of that as Bitcoin kind of expanding the ceiling, making the ceiling higher, right? If you have a building and you bring the ceiling up, I don't know, 50 feet, right? All of a sudden you can fit bigger objects inside that building. And that is much the relationship between Bitcoin and alts. Alts to this day are largely bound by Bitcoin's movements and by Bitcoin's size. And while many people have hoped and said this every single year that, oh, something will flip Bitcoin, there'll be a project that'll come along and be bigger, we really haven't seen anything like that so far. We don't even have anything that is really moving in that direction. We don't even have anything that's kind of trending that way. It's not impossible, and maybe it's even inevitable over enough time that something will overtake Bitcoin. I don't think it'll happen like in our lifetimes, but let's keep our minds open. Bitcoin sets basically the ceiling, and at the same time, it kind of sets the floor. So I was saying, when does alt season happen? It happens at the end of the cycle. We see Bitcoin make its final move, and we really can never know when that final move is here. It could be right now. We could have already seen the final move. I don't think that's the case. I think Bitcoin has more upside to come. I don't think this cycle is over yet. I'll get into why I think that in just a little bit, but at some point, Bitcoin will reach its highest point, and that will remain its highest point into the beginning of the next cycle. If we look back, this should be roughly 2026. Q1 of 26, the high is likely to be in or occur in the first quarter. And after that happens, this is where it gets really tricky, and this is where these secrets come in, because people don't really talk about these things. When that high is in, alts have, in the last cycles, had another leg up. They've had another impulsive move. So you can just imagine, try to imagine right now, Bitcoin has moved up. Let's say it's at $200,000. It's moved up really quickly. It's the end of the year. We're in Q4. It's moved up to $200,000, maybe higher. Who knows? It pulls back just like it's done every year, right? It chills out. People kind of roll their eyes and say, we've seen this before. This just keeps happening. It's probably happened a few times in between now and then. Bitcoin pulls back, and unbeknownst to everyone, that is the high that's going to remain. Typically, this pullback will be marked by really enthusiastic buying. People will be yelling, buy the dip. This is a discount, blah, blah, blah. Kind of the things you've maybe even begun hearing just in the last week or two. But once this high is in, and be marked by hype-driven euphoria, new people coming in, risk, an increasing appetite for risk, almost an exponential appetite for risk. People will be doing stupider and stupider things with their money and getting away with it from time to time. More leverage, more degeneracy, kind of, buying into scams. The promises will get bigger. That's one thing to look out for. The promises will get bigger. And you'll hopefully be able to identify that when you get there. That one you have to just kind of watch unfold. But that will come. And alts will continue at least, or I'll say one more time. So if Bitcoin hits this high number, pulls back, everyone says, yeah, Bitcoin does this. Alts keep going. And alts maybe then double. We see some alts double in size. Maybe go from $1 to $2, $100 to $200 really quickly. It will feel like the moment of the safest investment. It will feel like you can throw money anywhere and it will be successful. That there's no risk. There's no point of even worrying about risk. That it is so safe because all you've seen is things move up. They've moved up week over week, month over month. This has been going on. It's not like a day in time. This will be, a month, 2 months, 3 months, who knows? It will feel so safe. And the problem is that will be the final move of the cycle. After that, the cycle will begin anew. And unfortunately, it begins with a year of pain, maybe. Alts will see huge downside drops. Bitcoin will see downside moves as well. It won't move down as much as alts, but alts will essentially increase that appetite. What we'll see the market do is increase risk appetite over and over and over again. It will reward more and more risky behavior, meaning people will open longs and leverage, whatever, and it will work. Everyone will be a genius. That will mark this definitely. Everyone is a genius. And you can even feel this starting already. If you look on Twitter, probably on YouTube as well, you'll notice people all of a sudden who you've never really heard talk about charts or price predictions are geniuses, and they've called everything and they've told you everything, even though maybe a few months ago they were looking for a bear market again. What's up, BitLab Academy? Welcome in. You're joining the classroom. This is a good episode. All of this could be happening or beginning right now. So I glossed over a few things. Let me go back to them. We started with total 3, talking about anytime this is moving up, this is an alt season of some kind. We talked about what the real alt season is. Yes. But why it's a little bit different right now versus what we saw in November or what we saw in March of last year. That is where we begin talking actually about Bitcoin for the first time, though we're not done. We haven't even gotten into how to really maximize on alt season, how to maximize into the end of this cycle. Dominance, Bitcoin dominance basically just shows how much money, or when money is moving into the space. This is the way I like to think about it. Where that money is going and what percentage is going to Bitcoin. Now, it isn't exactly that, but that's the way I like to kind of have that zoomed out view of what dominance is where is capital flowing in? When dominance is moving up, Bitcoin is absorbing more and more of that capital. We have seen Bitcoin do this since 2022. It's been over 1,000 days of Bitcoin absorbing all of the investment in this space. And this is a little unusual. It doesn't really line up with what we saw in the last cycle. We don't have a ton of history. I'm trying to keep this simple today for people. But that is what we have seen. We have seen Bitcoin just take up more and more market share. The true alt season, when the alt season is alt seasoning, is going to look something like this, or should look something like this according to history. What we'll see is the total amount of investment in crypto, the total market cap, increasing, which it is and has been for months, while Bitcoin's market share is dropping. Think about this logically. If the total size of crypto is increasing and Bitcoin's market share of that is dropping, that means more and more of that money is going to altcoins. It's going to other things outside of Bitcoin. When these two things are combined, we tend to see that full-blown euphoria, that full-blown alt season. You can have other outcomes here. You can have dominance increasing and total market cap increasing. And that's what we've had roughly for years, right? And alts in that scenario tend to kind of just move sideways. They'll put in dollar value lows. I'll get to this. The secrets are coming here really soon. But they will be usually kind of bottlenecked by their all-time highs. You won't see them make expansive moves. In fact, I think two really great examples would be XRP in November, and even Solana actually in November, now that I think about it, of 2024. They both went to all-time high, and they just didn't do anything, right? And this isn't because they're bad projects or they're good projects or anything like that. It's because we hadn't seen the right combination yet. We hadn't seen dominance dropping and total moving up on a zoomed out scale to the right, I'll say magnitude. So when the elements aren't quite right, you'll see things like that. Alts will just kind of hit those all-time highs and fade back down. What's different now, and it might be too early to call this yet, but it will come eventually. Dominance can't continue to move up forever. Think about dominance is what percentage market share Bitcoin is. It can't be more than 100%. And in fact, it can't ever be 100%, because that would mean that nothing else exists at all with any market cap. That's not a mathematically possible scenario. So this has to at some point reverse. Many people, even myself, would have expected this to already begin. Last cycle, we saw dominance kind of top out and begin alt season in 2020 or in 2021 or late 2020, basically right as Bitcoin broke all-time high. You can see that this is different. This is a little bit different. This is deviating from that pattern. Bitcoin's already at all-time high, yet dominance has not truly begun to give up ground. We've had a few weeks now, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 weeks of lower lows on Bitcoin dominance, meaning Bitcoin absorbing less, giving up more of that market share for 5 weeks. This is not something that we have seen, to my knowledge. This is not something we have seen at all since 2022, since dominance put in a low. We've seen, I think, at most 3 weeks of this declining in a row. Last week closed the 4th. I don't think we've had a 4th red weekly movement. Nope. And now we have even 5 today. So this could be the beginning of it. This is why I'm doing this episode. This is why I'm sharing my secrets, my alpha with you, is because this is realistically closer than it's ever been, and it is inevitable at some point. Unless we see a total mix-up of how this works, which is always on the table, but I'm not really sure how we would ever plan for that. It doesn't really make sense. So let's look at what's happened in the past and how we can capitalize on it in the future. We are seeing potentially real weakness here. Dominance has given up the gains of an entire quarter, all of last quarter, now given back to the market, given back to altcoins. And you're seeing altcoins now move to their all-time highs. You're seeing newer projects flourish. You're seeing some big gains. Things are starting to get spicy. We are early in this quarter, and that could reverse and go back up, blah, blah, blah. But for now, let's just go with this idea of it's going to happen eventually. Even if it isn't right now, it's possible it is right now. I don't have a crystal ball for you. So in a scenario where everything is going up, you're probably asking, what do you need secrets for? If everything's going up and everyone's a genius, why do I need secrets, right? It seems like if everyone can do it without knowing secrets, why do I need to know secrets? Well, the sad reality is that most people in this time, even though this is going to be counterintuitive, will end up getting butchered by the market. Absolutely butchered. They'll get taken away with euphoria. They'll get taken away with that concept of increasing risk. And they'll end up at the end buying that last leg of alts, buying that last move up after 100, 200% gains really quickly. They'll buy that and they'll hold it basically all the way down because that is what's worked all the way up. The plays or the psychology that will work from now until this cycle is over is the exact psychology that is going to get you butchered and trapped on the way back down when this inevitably does end. So this is where we're going to get into the goodies. This is where we get into the goodies. Let me see if I missed anything. Basically, how to prepare, how to profit. So I would say a lot of you out there probably have your bags packed. Good. You want to have those high conviction plays. You want to have, I'd say, a diversified portfolio. And the easy goal, the brain dead statement I'm going to make is, as things move up, you want to have a plan in place and you want to take some profits. One thing people mess up is I think taking profits means they have to sell everything. They have to be all out or all in. That's never the case. And I think that's the worst way to do it, especially in this condition, because as things move up, and if you sell out of something, you're going to see it continue to move up. You're going to buy back in higher and you're going to get it chopped, basically. All the coins likely will move up, but they're not going to all move up at the exact same time. We're even kind of seeing this right now. You can look at something like Solana, right? Solana today has put on some pretty impressive gains just today. It's up about 10%. Solana has made a big gain today, but not all the altcoins have. But Solana didn't really move the last 2 days when other altcoins did. They're going to kind of take turns moving back and forth. And what gets people, even before that tippy top is in, what gets people chopped up is that they will be in a coin. Let's say they're all in on Solana. They're all in on Solana, and over the weekend they saw Ethereum running. They saw whatever else it is, right? There's lots of coins moving right now. They saw those moving and they said, wow, mine is the only one not moving. So I'm going to sell my Solana because I made the wrong choice, and I'm going to buy whatever it is that's up today. This is so common, and in fact, I want to say almost 100% of new people do this. They jump into whatever is up for the day. Like, likely people are doing this right now. This is a better way to say it is, you're in something else that isn't moving. You see Solana up, and you go to sell your bag to buy Solana, and then likely this moves back down tomorrow. People are constantly kind of jumping the ship because of impatience and because of failure to see that bigger picture, a failure to understand the bigger mechanism, the bigger kind of movement in the market. They tend to abandon ship, and as soon as they do, and I'm sure a lot of people in chat have seen this and had this happen to them, as soon as they do, that one starts moving. The one they bought into starts moving back down. They panic, and they really just repeat this cycle. And the reason they keep doing it, because you'd think that, when you do this a few times, you would learn your lesson. The reason you don't learn your lesson is because when the market is truly bullish, even doing this behavior, getting chopped like that, tends to be profitable. You tend to still see your dollar value go up, but you don't see that you're actually just losing to the greater market. You've got a return on your gains. It's kind of like saying, I don't know, if you traded full time for a year, right? And you made 2% over that year. You combined all your wins and losses. You made 2% for a year. You might say, oh, wow, that's awesome. I didn't lose, right? I'm a great trader. But in reality, 2%, you've lost to just doing nothing. You've lost to just the market value, right? To maybe the gains on the S&P or indexes. You've failed to keep up with the lower risk behavior. And this market will encourage you to do that, because you'll see the number continue to move up and you'll think you're a genius, and you'll say, okay, I just made one bad mistake, but I'm still up because I'm so smart and I'm so good at this. Man, people said trading was hard, but I've never done this before and I just keep winning. The bull market will trick you into thinking that you're winning, but there is a way to definitively keep track of that. And this is going to be important. This is where the alpha starts, is you need to keep track of this. If you don't have any kind of software tracking portfolio stuff, you should get one. I have one that I use. I don't know if I even have the link anymore. But you just need something that keeps track of your trades, basically. You should be doing that already, but something that keeps track of your trades. Because what you want to focus on as this market gets more and more bullish is not the dollar value of your portfolio. That is going to deceive you, and it is going to get you chopped up. Like I said, it's going to make you think you're doing well when you're not. What you need to keep track of, and all crypto software portfolio software will do this for you if you set it, is you want to pay attention to what is the Bitcoin value of your portfolio. This is where the real alpha comes in. This is, if you've stayed this long, you've made it to the gold. This is a different way of looking at value, a different way of looking at investing that everyone in this space that is successful over time that I've ever met has adopted. It doesn't matter what the dollar value is, because when everything is moving up, so is your dollar value, even if you're getting left behind. And it's pretty true in the bear market as well. When things are all moving down, everything's moving down, but what's moving down faster, right? And what you're going to see is that, wait, I got this mixed up. Not mixed up, but my thoughts jumbled here. Keeping track of it in Bitcoin value. This is the only true way to determine if you are winning, if you are succeeding. Because if your Bitcoin value does not move up, and let's say if it's moving down at all, if it's not moving up or sideways, you're actually losing. Think of it this way. Alt season is big, explosive, exciting, right? Ooh, big gains. I'm going to get rich quick. No, you're not. You're going to get wrecked. But if you can just sit in Bitcoin, which is a lower risk asset, and we know this over time, it's just logical. I don't know why anyone would question this. Bitcoin is a lower risk than any other thing in this space. During bear markets, it loses a lot less of its value. If you can just sit in Bitcoin and do nothing during this bull run, any other actions that don't exceed those gains is just taking on extra risk and losing. You're just not aware that you're losing, really. You're going to find that beating this, profiting in Bitcoin value, and I know it's kind of a foreign concept to some, is very difficult. It is very difficult to beat Bitcoin's return. But in this space, it's like, the S&P, it's like an index. If you're not beating it, you're losing. You're just not aware of it yet. So I recommend everyone go get software tracking, looking at their portfolio in Bitcoin value. It's probably going to be painful at first if you import all your trades to see that. So the way you can trade these and the way you can profit, though, is let's take a look at Ethereum. Because we're valuing our portfolios in Bitcoin, we're no longer going to depend on the dollar charts. We're not going to be looking at ETHUSD quite as closely as we would. We're going to look at Ethereum for this. We're going to look at the BTC ratio chart, so ETH/BTC. This confuses a lot of people, especially at first. It's a weird concept to most. Maybe that's part of why it's profitable. Maybe that's part of why it works. Because we're used to valuing things in our native currency. For most, that's dollars. So we think, okay, an apple costs $1. What do you mean? How much Bitcoin does it cost? Well, if an apple is $1 and Bitcoin's $100,000, then one apple is 100,000th of a Bitcoin, or one Bitcoin's 100,000 apples, right? These pairs are tradable on exchanges. You don't necessarily even have to trade these, though. This is going to be, I think, the more successful way to do this feat of gaining Bitcoin value. Basically, when these charts move down, when ETH/BTC moves down, it means that you can buy more Ethereum for each Bitcoin, right? If you have one Bitcoin, actually it goes the other way here, ETH/BTC. If you have 0.032 Bitcoin, you can buy one Ethereum right now. As this chart moves up, let's say 0.05, you now need 0.05 Bitcoin to buy an Ethereum. So here's where this profiting in the alt season comes into play. I'm not saying do this right here, right now, but this is just the thought exercise. This is just how to understand it is. If you were to buy, if you had 0.032 Bitcoin right now, and you bought one Ethereum, let's say that's all you have, right? The Bitcoin value of your portfolio is going to be 0.032. You just have that in Ethereum now. Stay with me. If this chart, if Ethereum gains value, outpaces Bitcoin, that's really what we're seeing here. Is Ethereum being outpaced by Bitcoin? That's when we see it move down. Or is it outpacing Bitcoin, meaning is it gaining faster or losing slower? That's when we see it move up. Let's say Ethereum moves up to 0.05 and you sell it there. You have changed 0.032 Bitcoin into 0.05 Bitcoin. You have gained against Bitcoin. This is the moneymaker. And in your portfolio tracking software, however you do this or view this, that will show you that you have increased, that you have made a successful gain. The reason you do it this way is because, or the way you want to view it this way, is because when everything is moving up, it's very difficult to tell if you're actually succeeding here or not. So like Ethereum moving up in dollars, right? This isn't the best example right now. That's okay. But let's say it continues moving up, but Bitcoin makes bigger gains. You're going to have that deception. You're going to have that, okay, I'm winning. The numbers going up in my portfolio. And of course, like, you know, it's not something to beat yourself up over. You are succeeding. You are gaining. You're not losing dollars. But the problem, again, is if you are in anything except for Bitcoin and you're not outpacing Bitcoin's gains, you're taking on more risk for less reward. And on top of that, when all of the cards fall and when the season is over, the cycle is over, if you don't get rid of those bags, if you hold on to those bags, they're going to lose 99.9% of their value. Well, Bitcoin maybe is going to lose, 65, 75%, something like that. And that doesn't sound like a big difference to most people, but it is an incredibly big difference. And you'll see that years over years over years. You'll see the difference in your portfolio for holding altcoin bags all the way down or cycling into Bitcoin. And I think the first step to all of that is to view your portfolio in Bitcoin value. I know this is a little confusing for people who have never thought of it this way, but the best way I can think of it is to really just reiterate that is if you could just hold Bitcoin and you would do better than whatever it is you're doing, you've taken on more risk for less return. You can't just see your dollar value go up and say, oh, I'm beating Bitcoin. You really have to look at it through that lens of Bitcoin value, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to tell. Unless you have incredible visual math skills, you're really not going to be able to tell. It's going to trick you into thinking you're winning. And then here's the problem again, is at the end, you hold it down and you get the bottom or the tail end of this where it just takes all your gains back. Man. Yeah, 30 minutes in. I probably missed so much stuff I want to talk about. Really, the big gist is identifying the alt season, identifying how to start into this, how to get out of it, and then set yourself up for like this whole system to start again. And now that we're at the end of this, I can say, of course, it can look different. It can end up different this time than all the other times. But then, how do we plan for that? The answer is we don't. You can't plan for a total anomaly, totally different scenario, right? There's just no way to do that. So I think the best course of action is to do what we talked about here. Start viewing your portfolio in a Bitcoin-oriented value. And that'll change your whole life when you start doing that. You'll be like, should I buy this, or should I buy this thing that cost me this much Bitcoin? You're like, but that much Bitcoin's going to be worth so much more later. I don't want to do that. Focusing on stacking that number. You want to get into your high conviction plays. You want to layer into them over time. Hopefully you have those bags packed. The later that you pack those bags. So let's say, Ethereum and Sol are the ones I have up. They're not like really the best examples, but I'll take Ethereum. Ethereum right now at 3,700 is only about a 25% move back to its all-time high. So people joining the space, maybe they want to get into, they're like, Ethereum is what I want. They're packing their bags later than most of the people here. The later you pack your bags, the more aggressively you're going to have to dump them. The earlier you're going to have to start layering out of them. If you bought into these coins really low over the last few years, you have a really low average, you can be a little bit less aggressive when you're selling. You can look to like ladder out slower. Some things, like, I don't know, if you got Ethereum at $1,000 or lower, probably, you could in reality hold on to this and probably never see that bag underwater in dollars at least. But the later you join and your friends joining, they're going to have to make more aggressive plans. And that's like the biggest thing of all of this is you just have to have a plan. You have to have these numbers ahead of time, targets that you want to begin taking profits. If you don't take profits, you're going to regret it. When it comes to Bitcoin, I typically just end up holding most of my Bitcoin cycle over cycle. But when I talk about kind of playing the alt season correctly, it is selling these alts, taking profit on these alts, and putting it into Bitcoin. You could put it into cash. You could put it into cash for like a longer term to kind of like buy Bitcoin back at lower dollar values. But I think it's easier to do it back into Bitcoin. Easier to see it stacking. But the later you are, the more aggressive you have to be. Regardless of how late or early you are, you should have a plan. I have to like finish with this because it's the most important. You have to have some plan. And that plan is going to look different for everyone. Your risk, how much you have involved, it's going to look different. But every plan should look somewhat, should have some core values here. The most important one, in my opinion, is simply setting sell orders, right? If you're trading BTC, if ETH is what you stacked and you're trying to take profit, rotate into Bitcoin while this alt season goes on, maybe you look to sell, let's make this easy. We're at 0.03. Maybe you look to sell 10%, maybe 20%, depends on how high you think Ethereum's going to go. Maybe like 10% of your Ethereum into Bitcoin every time we see this number roll over. So at 0.04, maybe you look to sell 10%. Maybe you sold 10% here, then you look for 10% at 0.04. Maybe you look at 10% at 0.05, 0.06, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and you just layer it up. Because you're never going to know where the top is. I promise you, you think you're going to sell the top on that. You won't, I promise. What you can do, though, is make an attempt to get some cells up there by just employing a brain-dead math ladder. Like I just said, it can be a lot more nuanced than what I just described, but this is just the easiest way to do it for everyone to understand. It can be that simple as maybe every dollar you take some amount of profit, some percent of your bag into whatever it is, whatever you're buying or selling. It can be that easy, but you have to have a plan. If you don't make this plan now, you're not going to make it in real time. You're not going to make it when things are euphoric, because we started this, I said, at the very top, at the moment before this is over and the music stops and everyone's got to get in their chairs, is going to feel like the moment that makes the least sense to sell. It'll feel like I'm making the worst decision of my life getting out right now because it's about to go 10x in this moment or something. You're not going to make the plan then. You have to make the plan now. You have to, honestly, to be the most successful, you got to set these orders now. I have orders set in these pairs to sell on many coins. And you have to trust it. If you see it move up and you see it get close to a sell and you cancel them over and over again, you're going to end up holding it all. Remember, with the laddering, your goal, I would say, so in that scenario of like selling 10% every 0.01 here, right, on the way up, you'd have to get all the way up here in that 10% per 0.1 scenario to not have any Ethereum left. Maybe a valuable thing to know is coins have virtually never broken their previous cycle highs in these values against Bitcoin. I can name like one or two examples ever. And then like, we haven't even seen those go on to like hold those gains into like the next cycle high. So it is a really low bet that Ethereum will trade that high. You're basically just playing on any kind of bounce wherever it makes it to. And if that makes you uncomfortable because you think, well, Ethereum's the future and it's always going to gain on Bitcoin, that's fine. Just ladder it a different way, right? Maybe you do that 0.01 sell up to, I don't know, like 0.09, and then you just stop selling. Then you just have the rest as a bag. It's okay. It is okay. And in fact, it's not just okay. I guarantee you will fall into one of two camps. You will hold some of that altcoin basically all the way back down, or you'll sell it on the way down, but you'll hold some of it all the way down, but you've sold on the way up and you've taken profits and you've locked those in and you've secured your bag, you've secured your profits into the next cycle and you're sitting pretty. Or you're in the, I'm going to sell it all at once, I'm going to try to snipe the top mindset, right? One of two camps. The people that try to sell the top and snipe it and sell all at once, you're going to sell it before the top. You're going to see it go up. You're going to buy it back. When you buy it back, you're going to have less. You're going to have locked in that loss. It'll probably go back down then and you'll panic again. You'll end up not selling the top. You'll sell way too early. And by the time the top comes, maybe you'll sell it, but you will have chopped up your bag so badly that it doesn't even make sense. Like, you're just going to be down so bad. So make your plans now, whatever that looks like. If you want help making that plan, here we go. Long game here. Check out joincrowncrypto.com. I'm offering one-on-one mentoring there now while it makes sense. You know, our membership's low enough that I can do this with me. I'll help you make this plan. You have to make this plan for yourself, but I will I'll guide you through the process of figuring out what's right for you. You can check out joincrowncrypto.com, sign up and take advantage of that. But you can do this yourself. You don't need me. Some people just feel more comfortable, especially if this is your first cycle, having someone help them through something like that. I understand that. But make the plan. Like we said, this could take, we might not see this full-blown alt season until the end of the year. It may be starting now, but we might not see it. You don't have a lot of time either way. The quicker you can put this together, the better off you're going to be. Every time that you can employ something where you kind of just set it and forget it, like just setting those sell orders every 0.01 on Ethereum BTC, the better off you're going to be. You want to take as much in the moment decision making as you can out of your own hands. We started the episode with the biggest mistake traders make is being too zoomed in, focusing too much on what's going on in this moment versus what is going on in the bigger picture. And so, wow, this is classy. Full circle is that the more you can take out of your hands, the more things, or the less things you have to do in real time, the more successfully you'll be able to focus on the bigger picture, and the more successfully you will capitalize on this market, and the less likely you will be to end it holding the bag and being wrecked. There we go. Classy. Class A. All right, I think I rambled long enough. Let me see if you guys have any good comments. What's up, Jennifer? How you doing, Polly? Awesome info. You want to keep your profits this time? I gave you the tools. Line in my pocket. That was you last cycle. That's why you already hit your first target. 3,750 sold one F. Use that money to pay off debt. That's an awesome way to do it. What's up, Obe? I see you, bro. That's an awesome way to do it, actually. A lot of the very successful people I've seen in this space during bull runs have sold. Professor Beans, you all right? What is she doing? She's making all kinds of noise. I might have to check on her. It's not like making bad noises, but crinkling paper. What? Making me suspicious. Some of the successful people I've seen in this space, or some of the most successful I've seen, took profit for something specific like that. They had a plan. Most of them that I remember were like to buy a house. They said at this price, I'm going to sell. I'm going to have enough money for this house. I'm going to buy it. And they saw the price continue up. They probably felt stupid for a little bit. But looking back, they ended up making a great decision. They didn't hold any of that bag back down. They made out better than most people. Most of those stories are pretty good. Give me a minute. I want to make sure she's okay. I don't know what's going on here. I hear like a bunch of paper. Oh, this bitch. I knew she was up to no good. She was ripping open this thing of bones. Wow. She got caught. She gave me the saddest look. I think she thinks she was home alone. I don't think she thinks I was here for some reason. It's going to be a fun year. That's right, Green Day. It's going to be fun, but it's also going to be painful. There's two sides to it. You recall the top for Bitcoin November 21? We might have hit it twice. You bought alts kind of late. The later you buy, you guys right now, no matter what you're buying, you're not going to be the latest buyers. There's going to be later buyers. In fact, if you buy now and you feel late, when you start seeing people coming in asking if they should buy, probably a good signal. Look for it. What's up, Paul? Thank you, bro. What's up, Hennessy? Something about Pulse Chain. When did meme coins peak last cycle? Memes specifically, I don't know. December 24. Total 3 peaked in December 24. But maybe we should look at total 2 for that, actually. Total 2. So when you keep ETH in it, November 21, that makes more sense. It makes more sense. Love this TA. Love you, Bobcat. Thank you, bro. There is no top. There is no top in a big enough picture. Das Peach Tom, truly spin facts. Thank you, man. I wanted to just do like kind of a little evergreenish type thing today, because this is info that you guys are looking for, whether you really know it or not. But I'm gonna try to beat it into you as time goes on. Make this plan, bro. Make the plan. Figure it out. That plan begins with understanding the bigger picture that we went through. It begins with viewing your portfolio through that Bitcoin value lens. And if you have questions, ask me. I'd love to clarify. It's kind of a hard concept to describe, but if you download any kind of crypto portfolio tracking software, you'll see the option to like toggle it to like view it in Bitcoin value. And then making your plan. That's it. That's it. Everyone is going to do that a little differently. It's not going to look exactly the same, but the difference is going to be the people who do that versus the people who don't. And it's going to be the people who are not successful versus the people who are. Guaranteed. If you don't make a plan and stick to it, I guarantee you it's not going to go well. Time's lights out. You scalp, you buy up, you wait, you get out on pumps, in on drops. Like, everyone is here for different things. That's okay. What I'm speaking to today are the people who are looking to change their lives with crypto the way that it did for me, to change like the course of their life financially. I told you guys before many times, I grew up very poor, just me and my mom, like kind of welfare-y, and I was never going to escape that. Like, I was never going to get out of that. I went to college, did all the right things, right? But like, I was never going to escape that. And Bitcoin, but crypto, is the only reason that I got out of that cycle, period, the poverty cycle. And a lot of people come to this space for that. A lot of people start by coming to this space looking to get rich quick, which does not work. But the ones that open their ears and eyes and absorb the information from people who have been here can shift to changing their life. And so, you're here, you scalp, you sell and buy on pumps, dude, that's fine. If you're profiting, you're good. But I don't think you fall into that category then. You can do both. You can do both, but then I think you really need to separate what you're doing into like piles, compartmentalize. Have like a long-term portfolio and then a scalping kind of thing. And you want to keep them separate. What's up, Dave Brown? What safe exchange do you use to sell Legend? What's up, Crunk? FEMX, BYDFI. So it depends on what you're looking to do. If you're looking to just trade and sell, BYDFI. If you're looking like on-ramp, off-ramp, fiat, like bank stuff, I'd go with Coinbase. Both those links are in the video description below. By the way, if you haven't logged onto your Coinbase account in years, could do me a favor that'll help this channel out a lot. If you can click my link, and it's just a referral link to Coinbase. If you have an account, but you just haven't logged in. If you click my link and then log in, it will like give me credit for like reactivating your account, even if you don't do anything. And that helps, makes me look good. Maybe I'll get us a sponsor from Coinbase. But yeah, for fiat, you got to go like Coinbase. If you're just looking to trade, looking to buy, sell, you can use BYDFI. It's in the links. Ooh, I didn't even get into that mindset, guys. The mindset of you missed out on gains. Get ready to have nightmares. You need to drop that. You need to drop that vocabulary from your brain, just like right now. There's no such thing as like losing because you've missed out on gains. You will guarantee. You need to accept right now They're going to miss out on gains. It is just part of the game, part of the gains game. You're going to. And that's what making the plan is about. Making the plan sets it up, but it sets it up. It guarantees that you miss some of the gains, but it guarantees that you lock in some of the gains. And that's going to be much, much more important. You can have all the gains in the world, but if you don't lock any in, it doesn't matter. They're not real until you lock them in. You're going to beat yourself up a lot in this cycle. You're going to say, oh, I could have held this. I could have been a jillionaire. Just throw that away. It's not helpful thinking. You can't measure it that way, because that mindset will guarantee that you end up not realizing profit. It'll guarantee that you end up just holding everything back down to the bottom, and that you get left out. Like, you really get left out of the bull run. Oftentimes, just doing nothing is going to be your best friend. Just sitting there and watching it. Still taking profits every 3 weeks about an M2. Hell yeah. Bitcoin dominance at support. Well, that's what I'm watching, man. That's what I'm watching here. Tomorrow crown the legend. Sweet Biddy McGee. How are you, sweet? Just set limit orders, Matt Cohn. Hell yeah. Will there ever be this time is different, Folsom? Who knows? Who knows? If ever any time was different, it's this time, in my opinion. But here's the thing: is this time is the most different we've seen. But if we have an all-time high in Q4, let's say November, December, right? Bitcoin all-time high, November. Bitcoin goes down, it tops, you don't know it. Then altcoins blast off one more time, and then the bear market starts. It then just looks exactly like every other cycle with just a little bit of different noise in between. Like, that's it. That's it. Really the same. Do I think most coins in 10 to 200 will do less than 5x? You know, it's going to come down, in my opinion, to how far Bitcoin goes. I talked about Bitcoin being like the ceiling. If Bitcoin does, I don't know, like a 3x or 2x from here, where are we? If it does like a 3x, 2x from here, that's a $5 trillion market cap by itself. Likely we would see another 2.5 trillion-ish, 7.5 trillion total crypto. Am I doing less than 3? It's a hard question to answer. Obviously, some will and some won't. The larger the market caps, the larger the market caps, I would say the less X you would expect, simply just mathematically, right? But that doesn't in any way mean that smaller caps will have bigger gains. We'll have bigger X's, right? Because you can just have coins that are just going to sit this out. They're just rugged. They're just going to not move. There's really no way to know. There's no way to know. The best thing you can do is just make a plan and layer. Make a plan, have some take profit set before then, have some set at 5x, whatever you're looking for. A lot of capitalizing on this on this bull market is accepting and just kind of giving in to not knowing and not being in control. Everyone is expecting, if we're going to talk kind of in generalities, everyone is expecting less gains this cycle. We've seen diminishing gains over the last few cycles. Everyone's expecting further diminishing gains, especially on Bitcoin. We don't know. We look at the past, you'd say, okay, that's logical to see again. So we probably wouldn't look for the same amount of upsides, but we really don't know, and it's just guesses. It's really just guesses. We could see some big surprises. Bitcoin could go to numbers we wouldn't expect this cycle, and that would mean lots of other stuff can go much higher than we think. We have to just let go our desire and our obsession of control and knowing and predicting and sniping the top and bottoms. Those are just fairy tales. Nobody does that. No one does it. The people who do sell tops and buy bottoms are people who layer in and out. That's it. Those are the only people. Everyone else tries, I guess, and their behavior causes them, by trying to predict that bottom and over and over and over again. That behavior just gets them wrecked before it comes. And then maybe they get a position off right at the very top or very bottom. but they're already chopped up. They've already lost most of their portfolio, and now it's all riding on that one position. No one gets rich doing that. And you say, but Tom, what about this guy? Most people who you think have done that are lying to you. You know, we're offering one-on-one mentorships and join Crowncrypto again. But I did this back in 2021, and I spoke to thousands of you out there. Thousands. On a personal, intimate, one-on-one basis. And I'm telling you, man, it doesn't exist. Does not exist. Everyone who has tried to tell me otherwise in my career, it's become apparent that they're lying. And is there one person out there? Sure, I'm sure there is. I'm sure I've never met them. I'm sure you've never met them. I'm sure we've never heard of them. It's not going to work. You just got to let go, and you need to then accept it's not going to be perfect. You're going to leave stuff on the table, but your main goal is to not leave it all on the table. It's to take something off. Take something off the table when it's hot. And that's success. That's it. Blow off top Q4. I mean, that makes sense. CF times him, we're being honest. I mean, the man trades a lot. He makes a lot of trades, but you know, how many of them are at the tops or the bottoms, right? I've sniped some bottoms, I've sniped some tops, but like, it doesn't even make sense to make that your mindset of like, that's what I'm going to do. When you end up hitting those trades, they're going to feel terrible. You're going to be like, that was the worst trade I ever made. Every time I've like sniped a bottom, I've been like, man, I'm so fucked. I'm just going to get wrecked every time. But it's certainly not something anyone sets out and it's like, I know this is the bottom and I'm out in. Nobody knows. Doesn't work that way. CryptoFace is a great trader, but CryptoFace also does not long every bottom, short every top, win every trade. It's not realistic. Top is in, says Dave Cobb. Bearish divergence on the RSI weekly. Haven't we already had that? Didn't we already have a bearish divergence like on some time frame and everybody thought it was over? Yeah. We had that here too. I don't know. I wouldn't pay any attention to that. Bitcoin's just going to do Bitcoin. These things are going to be here to just like confuse you. Know when there won't be bearish divergence at the top. At like the Pico top, I guess I guarantee you there won't be. You already had that. We had that back here in May. We had bearish div right here. We had a higher high, lower high in RSI. I wouldn't put a lot of weight into it. This cycle is just going to be over when it's over. I am a man with a plan. Get it, Badger. By the way, Coinbase also just started perps. Not perps. Options on Bitcoin and Ethereum for the US, which is wild. Kraken's good too, though. I use Kraken. I use Kraken too. Bought a bunch of XRP at 30 cents. Should you sell? Will it ever get that low again? Good. Good. If you've taken no profit, it's always makes sense to make a plan, take some profit. Where the hell is even 30 cents? How much did it go down last cycle? 85%. 30 cents is pretty low. 30 cents is pretty low. I still think if you're in a scenario where you're in a very good position, you look to take some profit. But, and if you're here for this, taking some profit doesn't mean selling your whole bag, getting all out. If you sold nothing, maybe you sell 5%, right? You have 95% left. You said 10%. You put that into the Bitcoin. 30 cents is pretty low. But being in the mindset of never taking profits is just how you ride it all back down. Yeah, everyone banned XRP in 2020. That's true, they did. Total crypto market cap this cycle, my best guess. I think we hit 5 trillion easy. $5 trillion easy. I think 10. 10 is probably a good number to look for. I mean, those are also conservative. You know, let's split the difference. Let's say 7.5 trillion. There we go. Split the difference. Around 7.5. Opinions on Dogecoin looks good. Dogecoin looks good. Everything looks good. I've been saying for a few months now, I think the dollar pair bottoms are in for the bull cycle part of this. Certainly dollar values from April. Okay, wait, I don't know if I said that word. April, I believe, I've been saying this for months, was the low for the dollar pairs on alts. I think for the bull cycle, right? So when the cycle is over, we go into a bear market. Those lows are probably going to be broken by most of the coins. But what was I going at? What was I even saying? Most of the coins, lows. I totally just lost my thought. The low brown says you can pretty much guarantee the top is not in. Because if it's in, we're screwed. I agree. Honestly, I believe that the top is not in. I think we have another leg up at minimum. But I believe that because retail isn't here. We don't have a hype-driven retail. We have some good numbers today on the stream, 850. That's pretty good. But our streams have not been super popping. You know, they don't compare to November of last year. They don't compare at all to March of last year. And in no metric and no count do they compare at all to 2020 to 2021. Like, if you look at new viewers, new subscribers, you know, like traffic entering the space, retail being driven by hype, we don't see that. And I can't imagine as an analyst or a trader the top being in without that. Streams are always popping. Hell yeah, Bullish Mike. Love you, bro. Love you, bro. There are more crypto YouTubers too? Oh yeah, there are always more. There are always more. There are always more people. There are more crypto YouTubers. I mean, that's like a point that has validity to it. But then you can make the argument of there's more people. There should be more retail potentially. People who are younger and understand crypto and have seen crypto change lives are getting old enough to have jobs. Like every year, more people have jobs, more people get better jobs. You know, we're talking about big picture. That could buy crypto and be interested. The people who are older and who have more money, who don't understand crypto and probably won't invest in it, are, rest in peace, dying off, giving them, you know, cycling that money back down in ways. There's different ways to look at it, but you know, we can say since November of last year, are there really that many more new YouTubers for crypto? I don't think it makes like a meaningful difference, right? And to not see hype here as we saw even in December of last year, I think that the top is not in. Now, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't go down in price between now and then. Like, you know, it could go to numbers that would spook you. But I don't think the top's in. BitBoy one last count it. Douglas says I say that retail has to come and that there isn't that kind of thing in the traditional market, so maybe retail won't come. Yeah, I mean, so I would agree and disagree. You know, it's possible that this looks different, right? Again, I'm going to fall back on as early as just Q4 of last year, we saw this exact behavior. I've been live on YouTube for 6 years. I'm very in touch kind of with the trafficy flow. And of course, when I say retail, I'm pinpointing a very specific type of person. I haven't had people start trading recently who, you know, tell me like I don't know how to trade, like that they know better than me. We haven't had this like genius. I'm a genius. I just started trading and I'm a genius thing happen. I've seen it very consistently. It may not happen. I don't know why I would bet on that. But everything that I've seen would point me in that direction. I would disagree that we don't see that in traditional markets. I would disagree. And I would even say, I think we're seeing that right now. I think we're seeing that begin right now. Like literally. Everyone's a trader in like the traditional market now. Golden Dragon, Tom Crown, the real OG. Love you, bro. Do I think FLR is going to do anything? Probably. A lot said those are related to the top, and it was the same. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was. Back here, no, I didn't think it was. I got boned. But, you know, that was 4 years ago. I've had a lot of reflecting time. I've had a lot of learning. If you think that this being the top didn't impact me mentally as a trader, didn't impact me in a way of I need to make changes, I need to do better in the next one, then you're crazy. Then I don't even know why I'd be here. My expectations were changed from that. What's up, Blockchain Basement? What's up, bro? 𝐒𝐈𝐿𝐍. What's up, Pickles? You are a genius, exactly. You bought sold $304. You're a genius. True. Top's not until BitBoy gets out of jail. That's a good one. Weirdest cycle so far. Yeah, it is. You had a friend reach out today with no knowledge asking you about crypto. I mean, that's one of the signs. Usually Uber drivers is a good one. I know it's cliche, but it is actually very true. John, what did they ask? Did they ask if they should buy crypto, though? That's what's important. Doc Tory said retail's been going hog wild in the S&P. That's exactly what I was saying. I think that we are actually seeing that right now in TradFi. ADA's pumping. Yeah, we talked about ADA. Broke May's high, baby. Let's go. Too many alts now. Money is everywhere. That was true. You know, in the last cycle, we had like over 20,000 alts too. Now we have like millions, but you know, what is there really a difference between 20,000 and a million when it comes to like that kind of thing? I would argue not really. I'd argue the difference is not that. It's like more options than, you know, than you can visualize. It definitely will have some dilutive value for sure. Tom is the one who got me to understand that Bitcoin has only ever gone up ever in its entire history. Dom, amen, bro. This is something that everybody needs to see. Have I shown Beans on cam? I have. She's downstairs hiding from me because she's being a bad dog. She was ripping up a bag of bones. She was thinking she was pulling a sneaky on me. Bitcoin has only ever gone up, guys. It's only ever gone up. It's weird because it spends a lot of its time not going up, but it has only ever gone up. Since day one, it's only ever gone up. I think it will only ever go up. I think the rate at which it goes up is going to change. I think we've seen it slow down, but in the way that we've seen it slow down, I think we see it accelerate at some point. Hopefully that's right now. Hopefully that's this year, but I'm not going to bank on it. What do I think about Gareth Soloway? Gareth Soloway is a smart guy. He's a good trader. He's a friend of mine. You know, like we don't like hang out. But like we've met each other in person multiple occasions, had great convos with him. I've been on his channel. He's been on my channel. Gareth Soloway is a TradFi trader who dipped into crypto, got a lot of attention for being bearish, and rode that attention, much like every content creator rides attention that they get. That's what I think about him. He's a really nice guy. He's a good trader who preaches risk management. He preaches a lot of what we preach. I think one of the values and differences about this channel here is that I grew up on crypto. Crypto changed my life. Like I said earlier, I grew up very poor. I escaped that poverty cycle via Bitcoin and crypto. I also began my trading career in crypto, unlike almost everybody else. So that's probably less common now. Probably more and more people every day start with crypto. But when I started trading, I'd never traded stocks, and that was very unusual. It was very rare for someone to start in crypto. So I'm like a crypto native. James Wynn says Black Swan. Dude, James Wynn is, I don't even know, dude. It is just the strangest marketing account I've ever seen. He specifically asked you about XRP, John Doe. Well, that's not great for XRP. I remember people asking me about XRP at the end of last year. If they're specifically asking about, here's the thing is, if your friends who don't know about crypto reach out to you, and this is like a guarantee. There's no guarantees in trading, but here's like a guarantee. If your friends who don't know anything about crypto, have never been involved, reach out to you about a coin, right? About XRP, about PEPE, about BONK, whatever it is, that coin is going to go down. By the time this information, like we're looking at the chart in real time, by the time this information trickles into whatever media outlets, whatever ways they get it fed into them, by the time it gets to them, it is too late. Like it is too late. Doesn't mean it'll never go up, but it means that it's about to go down. Sorry, XRP. Sorry, XRP. Bean doing an Ocean's 11. Yeah, she is. BitBoy got you into Ondo and Sui early. Well, BitBoy also fed you BenCoin, which rugged, BenCoin 2, which rugged, accepted millions of dollars to promote scams, rugs, etc. over the years. I mean, like, let's be real. Let's be real. You can be happy that it got you into those things, but, you know, weigh it out with what else did it get you into? You know, what else did he get that didn't work out? And really what gets me, and this isn't just Ben, this is the whole space, what did they get you into that they were paid to get you into? That they weren't into, but they were getting you into it because they're being paid by the, you know, the project to do it. That's what gets me. I've never accepted a penny. Never accepted a penny for that. Passed up on millions of dollars here. I think I have passed, just an estimate, I think I passed at like a $10 million in 6 years. Have I ever been approached by a Quink? Dude, bro, all day, every day. My email inbox is just like projects. Every social platform is just projects. You do promotion for us. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it's everywhere. Never bought a coin that he recommended? There you go. Wasn't he up for something the other day? Who knows? Never know it's genuine anymore. My batch. Exactly. You don't. I'll promise you here. Right here. Only genuine. I'm not always right. Someone pointed out in 2021 I was bullish at the top. Yeah, I'm a human. Not always right. But I've never, ever allowed money to influence how I don't know, guide you guys, or how I, guide isn't the word. But you know what I mean? I've never accepted money. I've never had money influence. Like, I've never done anything that would put you guys in harm's way, no matter how much money was involved. I think that's the way to go. I'm always genuine. I'm not always right. Standing my ground for the normal people. That's right, bro. Satoshi contacts you. Let's promote BTC. Yeah, I mean, I already do that for free, though. You think I'm awesome and you don't know Bitcoin? That's fine, brother. I'll get you eventually. When did I start trading? Like mid-2017. Would you have made more if you stacked more in XRP or Bitcoin this cycle? And that's relevant to what we were talking about. You know how to answer this. I gave you the tools. Look at XRP BTC. The answer, though, is that there are periods of time, not just with XRP, with everything, there are periods of time where you would have benefited more from being in things not Bitcoin. But the overall picture, when you look at these coins, is they almost always have the same image, which is at some point years ago, depends on how old they are, they put in this crazy high in value against Bitcoin, and they've never returned to that value. So if you say, would you have done better? Well, let's see. At the very bottom of the bear market, or the beginning of the bull market, let's say January 2023, right here, you would have been down as much as 70% against Bitcoin over the course of 2 years, right? This is not like for a day. You'd have been down as much as 70%. But had you held through, today you'd be up about 40%. So the answer is it depends on where you're looking, how you view it. You could say, but what if you bought it right here at the very bottom, April 2024, Tom? You would be up 350% against Bitcoin. That's true. But you are like imagining something that is not realistic. When these things sell off at the very bottom lows is the time that they're the least attractive, that the least amount, if any, new people get into these things. People buy, this is an XRP, it's everything. People buy these things when they're up. They don't buy them when they're down, especially when people start investing in them. Sometimes they'll start here and they'll keep buying, and those people end up doing all right, depending. It's a nuanced question. If you had bought XRP as early as January of this year, you could still be down against Bitcoin about 10%. It's a nuanced question. Depends on what time frame you're looking at. The answer overall is that you are better off in Bitcoin for just like 99% of the time. And then the times where you're better off not being in Bitcoin tend to be in these crazy alt season bull market euphoria tops. That's about it. And when you say better off not being in Bitcoin, it's just like, really what it is you're taking on more risk for more reward. That's really what it is. Do you think the cycle will last two cycles? It's an impossible question to know the answer. Yeah, I need to get better at that. I've been a content creator full time for 6 years, and I still am not good at this. I don't need to preface everything with, it's impossible to know, but I do, because I'm just that guy. I don't ever want to steer anyone wrong. At the moment, I don't see a reason to deviate from the 4-year cycle. I don't see a reason yet. You look at it, you look at the cycle peaks, and they're 4 years apart. You go back, it's 4 years apart. Like almost to the day. It's not to the day, but it's damn close. You look at this and you extend it out from November of 21. And what do you get? You get November of this year. So here's where I'm at. So far, we're climbing into it. Q4 has been the highest point of the cycles for the last, all the cycles maybe. Is it possible that we put an all-time high before then and then we don't have an all-time high in Q4? Yeah. I just don't know why we're looking at that, right? I don't know why we would be expecting that is really it. We can still plan for it, right? This whole video has been about making a plan, sticking to it. We can still plan in case something's different. Whether that's selling more aggressively or selling less aggressively, depends on how you see the cycle playing out. But until we get to the end of this year, I just don't understand why people would be expecting it to be different. Very well may could be. Very well may could be. Could be. But like at the moment we're on track. The only kind of mix up was we broke all-time high in March of 24. But it didn't really change much, right? Not like it wasn't significant. We kind of just spent more time going sideways. And then we kind of just like fell back to where we were. This is the biggest question on my mind, and maybe the biggest argument about like a cycle changing or something different. Bitcoin against the euro. Bitcoin against the euro has still not broken its high from earlier in this year, which is very weird. It is sitting right underneath it. I think it's an incredibly strong trade to look for to do that. This is like the only devil's advocate kind of thing I can point out is, well, this isn't at all-time high, which doesn't really make sense. It makes sense in the fact that the euro is stronger, the dollar is weaker. A lot of BTC USD is likely reflection of a weaker dollar. But it certainly isn't a reflection of lesser buying. Sailor alone is likely a greater buying source than, well, certainly than we've ever seen in Bitcoin, but like maybe arguably bigger than all of retail in the last cycle, right? So it's not solely because of the dollar. But this is the biggest question. And when this breaks, and I believe it will, I think will be the most relieving factor. But this is like the only question. You look at total's broken. You look at total 3, it's about to break all-time high. When I think quantitative easing is going to start, I think quantitative tightening is supposed to be done by the end of this year. I don't know. We'll see. You had tried to rewire your brain to Bitcoin, not dollars. The game is now whoever has most Bitcoin wins. Midwest Picker, you have achieved the pinnacle of crypto success mindset. There you go. Sounds silly. It's not silly. It's totally serious. If you can adapt your thinking to what is the value in Bitcoin, if you have $118,000 worth of Ethereum right now, maybe this will be easier. Then you have a value of 1 Bitcoin, because that's the value of Bitcoin of 1 right now. Once you can see it in that view, you can actually see the space. Before when you're still thinking in dollars, when you're still valuing crypto in dollars, you're just under this strange illusion, and all you're seeing is the greater market increasing and decreasing. You're not actually like seeing anything. You're just seeing that ebb and flow of the entire market. Once you can see it in the value of Bitcoin and through the Bitcoin lens, then you can like begin your journey. A lot of people in here, we've been doing this for a long time. A lot of people in here have gotten to that point. Understandably, it is not the easiest thing. It's very weird. We don't do this in real life. There's no scenario where we do this in real life. I guess like no, there's just no scenario. If you read this message, you the channel, like, thank you, Das Peach, my man. The decision people make is to when to take profit. We went over that in depth in this episode. Hopefully Pickle timestamped it. I don't know if we did though. Oh, we did. Nice. My guy coming in clutch. Shout out to Pickle. Give him a round of applause. We talked about that in depth. We got timestamps, so you can go back and check. Basically, I think it always makes sense to take some profit when you have a position, especially if it's a position you've held for a long time. It always makes sense to take some profit once you're in profit, right? I know that sounds silly. But because like, what does that mean? But like, it always makes sense to take some, but I always advise against selling it all. Should have done this earlier. Maybe this will be a good wrap, but making that moon bag, right? If you have a coin, it goes up 2x against Bitcoin or something, let's say. You know what? Ethereum might be an example of this now. It's not. Damn, so close. Let's go back in time. Here we go. Let's say you bought Ethereum back here in 2021 of March. We're just back in time now. This is just for the sake of argument. You see that increase to 0.6, 100% gain. Maybe you sell half of it back into Bitcoin. You get your investment back out, and this applies to dollars too, but our theme is Bitcoin here. You can sell half of it, get your investment back out, take all the risk out of that position, and then you can largely just relax. You don't have to really do much after that. This can look different. Maybe you're in a meme coin, it goes up 10x, right? And you're like, I don't know if I should take profit. Maybe you sell 10%, you get your investment out. It is always advisable to be able to get your position or your principal out of a position because it de-risks it completely. There's no longer a risk to holding it. You no longer have to worry about selling it or whatever because you can't lose anything. You already got everything back. You can only lose unrealized gains, which are imaginary. The theme here was making a plan for profit taking this alt season, this bull run. And I'll go on and say it is always advisable to lock in something. I think selling it all at once is never a good idea. I think selling is best done in a calculated way, which typically looks something like, I don't know, every 10% higher it moves, I'll sell 1%, or every dollar value it moves up, I'll sell 5%. You know, something mathematical, something that's just layered. You can get fancy with it. You can, instead of just doing it mathematically like that, you can look at the chart, identify major macro time frame resistances and say, okay, I'm going to sell at each one of these resistances, right? It can be a flat amount, a percentage. You can go a step beyond that. You can use your fib tool, look for fib extensions and say, okay, here is, let's see what we got. Let's say Solana, we're doing the moon math. You say, okay, well, I'll sell some Solana at all-time high, whatever percent. Then I'm going to take my fib and I'm going to say, where's the 1618? Oh, it's all the way up here. Well, 2,350. I'll sell some, 25% there or something. It's really just about making a plan. You can kind of min-max it all you want. I think everyone should think about how they can make it best for them. But at the end of the day, the most important things are that you've made the plan, you've set it into action so that you don't have to do anything in real time, and that it gives you some sense of relief, that you don't have to stress about it. Cutting down on your stress and cutting down on anything you have to do in real time is going to directly correlate to how profitable you are during this run. There you go. Drop the mic. If Bitcoin is expected to go down 7% after those runs, are advisable to hold it. It's up to you. I do. Most of the people that I know hold most of their Bitcoin position. Does that mean you should never take profit? No, you can look to take profit. You can look to do that. I would advise doing that in the same laddered approach. You're never going to be able to sell it on the way up and then buy it all back at the lowest value, like, over the bear market. You're never going to do that. You might get something in, but you're never just going to pull the trigger at the very bottom. That layered robotic mathematical approach will help you out. Once you're in crypto long enough, you tend to kind of not sell as much of your Bitcoin, I would say, because it is so difficult to time the top and time the bottom, that I think given a long enough time frame, 8 years, 12 years, whatever, I think it's more profitable to just do nothing. Do nothing with it. Just to trade alts, try to stack sats and just let it ride. How can you set targets without being on exchange rate execute at certain levels? You still can make the plan. It's best if you can be on an exchange that will allow you to set these early. You can still make the plan. You can still set alerts. The limitations of an exchange are going to come into play. Nothing is the best. It's true. Never sold your Bitcoin. Just want to get rid of your alt garbage, bro. Everyone's there with you. Everybody. We're all there with you. Long flush coming. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm ready. Anyway, this has been an awesome episode. A lot of value. Hopefully you've joined us. Hopefully you've subscribed. You've hit the like button. Hopefully you'll tune in on Wednesday. We'll have our next episode. Although maybe we'll cover 𝐿𝐴 tomorrow at 8:30. I don't know. In the morning. It's early. It's kind of bullshit early. It's kind of bullshit early. I don't know about that. Maybe. TBD. But we will be live Wednesday for sure. Hopefully you'll tune in. You can jump in the Discord, discord.gg/TomCrown. It's free. If you sign up with any of the exchanges, links in the video description below, you'll get some VIP exclusive roles in the Discord. And new offer. Check out joincrowncrypto.com. It's not for everybody, but anyone, especially newer people, I assume when new retail joins the space, this will be something they're looking for more than maybe some of you OGs here. But every membership, until I am no longer able to do this, will get one-on-one time with myself. I'll help you make that plan. Whatever it is you want help with. If it's something else, help you out. But you'll get some of my time every month. Check it out. Joincrowncrypto.com. It's a good deal. I love you guys, and I will see you very, very soon.